All right, Math 2, Unit 8, Section 2. Now we're talking about stem and leaf plots. So to begin this, I thought it would be beneficial to just look at a stem and leaf chart or plot. And this is what that is. This is actually the answer to number 1. But before you go and start writing it down, copying it down, let's look at where did these numbers come from. Well, down here, if we look at this key, it tells us that 5 line 2 is 52. So you just kind of smash the numbers together. So if you take 4 and the 5 there, that's going to be 45. If you take the 4 and the 8, that's going to be 48. If we look at this one, that's easy to see that that's going to be 64. If we take 7 and 3, that's going to be 73. So it's kind of a different way to visualize some data. Last year, I liked to use this, a stem and leaf plot, to show my students the distribution of test grades, because then I could like put a 9 here, and then I could put 1, 2, 4, 5, and that would mean that someone got a 91, a 92, a 94, 95, and then you could see really easily if I had like 9, 8, 7, 6, you could see, well, how many people got a 70, or how many people got a C, how many people got a B. It was helpful to you to visualize the data that way. So the way that we would make these is we'd say, well, 43, you split it up. The 4 and the 3 go separate. The 4 is the stem, the 3 is the leaf, right? And all 3 of these numbers would go to the same leaf because they all have the 4 together, right? These next 2 numbers would go in the same category because they both have 5s. Oops. The 64 would go by itself because it's the only one with a 6. And then you'd have the 3 70s. Right. So now would be a good time to go ahead and just copy down this stem and leaf chart, and then the next one we will actually make together. All right, number 2. Now this is the first real problem that we're doing, and I give us a key. If you're doing any free response problems for me with stem and leaf plots, or charts, whatever we want to call them, if they aren't really pretty numbers, and by that I really mean like 2-digit numbers, numbers 0 through 100, I will give us a key for us to base it off of. Because if we all were to decide our own key, then we'd have all different charts. But let's look at our key. Let's see what this means. The 2 line 6 means 2,000, so this means 1,000. 600, so 6 means 100. Now before we can start drawing our chart, we need to round some. And on all of these, whatever is the second number listed here, whatever is the leaf, in this case it's the 6, you're going to have to round to whatever that represents. So in this case, it represents hundreds. So we're going to have to round all of these numbers, all of our data, to the nearest 100. So 61 will round to 100. 83, 100. 100 is saying 100. 100.7 will be 100. 444.7 will round down to 400. 758 will round up to 800. 907 is 900. 2,562 will be 2,600. And then we have another 2,600, a 2,900, and then a 44,100. All right, so all of those numbers were rounded to the nearest 100. Okay, now that we have that, we can draw our stem and leaf plot. Our key tells us that the stem, the left piece, stands for thousands. So we want to see what is the beginning thousands and our ending thousands. If we look at the beginning, our first numbers have no thousands. So we're going to have, well, that's 0 thousands. Our last numbers, the 4,100, has 4,000. So I'm going to have to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 4,000. Now for the leaves, I just write what is the hundredths place for each one. So starting up with 100, well, that's a 100, obviously. So I'm going to put a little check next to that one so that I know I've already done it. The next 100 is another just 1. Then we have another 1, another 1, and then we have a 400. So 400, 800, and then 900. Now we've gotten to the end of the no thousands, the 0,000s. Now let's look at the 1,000s. Well, there's no 1,000s there. We jump all the way to 2,000. So we have 2,600, so I'm going to put a 6 for the hundreds. And then we have another one of those, so another 6 for the hundreds. And then we have 2,900. So the 2,000 I'm going to put in the same column as the 6's, and the 9, or excuse me, the row, and then I have 9 for the 900s. And then I jump down to the 4,000s, 100. All right, and there's our stem and leaf chart. Number 3, again, I gave us the key. First off, let's look at it. The 1 stands for 10,000. The 2 stands for just plain old 1,000. Right? I'm using this and this 2, and I'm really looking at what place value is this 2 in, and it's in the thousands place value. So the leaf, the 2, is in the thousands, so I'm going to need to round all of my data to the nearest 1,000. So I'll start with 8,400, rounds down to 8,000. That looks a little bit messy. 9,300 rounds down to 9,000. 10,600 will round up to 11,000. 11,500, this will be 12,000. The next one will round down to 14,000. This one will round up to 17,000. This will round up to 18,000, 18,000, and 37,000, rounded down. Now that we have our data, we can look at our stem and leaf chart. So we want to look at how many 10,000s do we start off with? Well, 8,000 is less than 10,000, so we start off with 0. And then we end up with 37,000, so with a 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Now I start putting my data. I look at the 0,000s, I have an 8,000, or 0 10,000s, I have an 8,000 and a 9,000. Then I move into the 11,000s. So that's going to be a 1 here. And then the 12,000 will be a 2. 14,000 will be a 4. Next up, 17,000 will be 7. 18,000 will be 8. Another 18,000 will be another 8. And then I jump up to 37,000. So the 3 is taken care of in this 3, and the 7 goes right there. So there's our stem and leaf chart for the annual household incomes. Number 4, monthly revenue. This one, again, I think is pretty similar to the last one. We have the 10,000 and the 1,000. We have before been writing it here, 10,000 and 1,000. So again, just like in the last one, I'm going to have to round to the nearest 1,000. So if I zoom in here, 25,800 will round up to 26,000. This one rounds down. This one rounds up. Oops. Round down to that one. 35,800 will round up to 36,000. 36,200 will round down to 36,000. 39,000. And this one will round up to 40,000. 55,000. 56,000. And 65,000. All right. Now we have our data, so I can write my or draw my charts. And leaf goes just like that. The stems are the 10,000s. My smallest 10,000 is 2, and I'm going to work my way all the way up to 65,000, so 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to draw this a little bit nicer here. All right. 26,000 has a 6 in the thousandths place. 34 will have a 4 here. 35 will go next to it. Another 35. A 36. Another 36. A 39. A 40,000. A 55,000. A 56,000. And a 65,000. All right, there we are.